The fifth episode of X-Men '97 brought Gambit into the spotlight, with breathtaking action scenes and an absolutely tragic outcome. However, fans know that the hero still has many stories in the comics, which could facilitate his return in the series. Stay until the end of the video, as we gather here everything you need to know about the X-Men's Gambit. X-Men '97 has come to reignite interest in the Children of the Atom, continuing the classic animated series from the '90s. And one of the characters that has always appealed to the audience is Gambit, a mutant capable of manipulating kinetic energy, transferring it to other objects, such as playing cards and his own staff. First appearance. Gambit first appeared in the comics in May 1990, on the pages of X-Men Annual Number 14, in a brief cameo. The mutant would only return in August of that same year, in Uncanny X-Men number 266. Created by Chris Claremont and Jim Lee, he first appears as a thief, assisting Storm, who, at the time, had been rejuvenated. Like other mutants, such as Wolverine and Bishop, Gambit's origin story was not initially told, and his roots remained a mystery for a long time. All we knew about Remy LeBeau at first was that his power allowed him to control kinetic energy around him, in addition to having a strong Cajun accent. Who is Remy LeBeau? Remy Etienne LeBeau was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, but was soon abandoned by his parents due to his purple eyes. A baby born, Remy was kidnapped by members of the Thieves Guild and raised by them. He was called Le Diable Blanc, the White Devil, by his kidnappers, and many believed he would be a great leader for the guild. As he grew up, Remy fell in love with Bella Donna Boudreaux, the granddaughter of the leader of the Assassins Guild, a rival clan to the Thieves Guild. The two married as part of a truce between their respective clans, but everything fell apart when Remy was challenged by Bella Donna's brother, Julien Boudreaux, who opposed the marriage and challenged Gambit to a duel. Remy killed Julien in self-defense but was excommunicated and banished from New Orleans in an attempt to maintain the peace agreement between the two leagues. This led to a great war between the two guilds, and Gambit left behind his family and friends to try to survive the world on his own. Mutant Massacre. Remy wandered the world using his skills as a thief, aided by his mutant power to charge objects with explosive energy. He began using kinetic energy charge cards as his primary weapon. At one point, Remy approached the master geneticist Mr. Sinister to help control his powers. Sinister removed some of Remy's brain tissues to reduce his power levels, providing him with greater control. As a result, Remy was now in debt to the geneticist, and Sinister later called on the thief, assembling a team of assassins called the Marauders. Remy did not know that Sinister would use the Marauders to massacre the underground mutant community known as the Morlocks. Seeing the horrific results of his actions, Remy tried to stop the massacre but was nearly killed by the Marauder called Sabretooth. However, he managed to save a young Morlock girl who would one day grow up to become an X-Man named Marrow. X-Men. In one of his adventures, he ended up meeting Storm, who, at the time, had been rejuvenated into adolescence and had no memories of her life with the X-Men. After helping her find the Children of the Atom, Gambit became a loyal member of the team. Remy soon fell in love with his fellow X-Man, Rogue, blessed and cursed with the ability to absorb the thoughts and abilities of other mutants through skin-to-skin contact. The feeling was mutual, but the two soulmates were doomed never to touch. The wedding of Remy LeBeau and Anna Marie took place in 2018, in the pages of X-Men, Gold Volume 2 Number 30. Originally, Kitty Pryde was to marry Colossus, but when the two backed out of the altar, the Cajun mutant proposed to his beloved Rogue, and, seizing the opportunity, the two exchanged vows on the spot. Before we continue, if you want to see more videos about the X-Men, leave a like and subscribe to the channel to stay informed about what's going on in DC and Marvel. Gambit's teams. Throughout his hero's journey, Remy LeBeau has been part of several teams. After assisting the young and amnesiac Storm, he was invited to join the X-Men, where he remained for a long time. Later, he also joined the Extreme X-Men, a team that deals with multiverse issues, at Storm's request. Gambit had a brief period as a villain before joining the Children of the Atom. Later, he rejoined the X-Men but also returned to being a villain a few years later, becoming one of Apocalypse's horsemen, Death. After redeeming himself and living some solo adventures, Remy LeBeau was called to join a new formation of X-Factor, which in turn was a corporate initiative funded by scientist Harrison Snow. In the Krakoa Age, the most recent phase of mutants in the comics, Gambit joined Excalibur alongside his wife. Powers and abilities. Although animations and games have always simplified Gambit's mutant power to the maximum, making it seem like he has the power to explode things he touches, his mutant abilities are a bit more complex. In fact, Remy LeBeau is capable of absorbing, manipulating, and redirecting all kinetic energy through a process called molecular acceleration. With this, he can charge some objects with a powerful purple or pink energy, depending on the artist, such as playing cards, small debris, and his combat staff. Moreover, he can use these gifts to ensure some personal enhancements, such as increased speed and a kind of very primitive healing factor. Gambit still has a lesser-known secondary ability, a natural charm that he uses to influence or seduce his opponents. When he was one of Apocalypse's horsemen, the mutant could also create seeds of death, turning the air around him into toxic gases or even using his touch to disintegrate his victims. X-Men 97. At Gambit's funeral, the man with long blonde hair is Bobby Lubu, and next to him is Pierre, the member of the Thieves Guild who alerted Gambit that Bobby was missing in X-Men the animated series. The blonde woman with them is Bella Donna. However, the identity of the other woman with the group in another scene has not been revealed. In an interview with Comic Book, director Jake Castorina revealed that the initial plan always included Magneto's death in the 5th episode. However, Gambit was not always a unanimous decision. He said, "Yes, Magneto yes, but Gambit shouldn't be included." Was the idea always to kill Magneto? Yes. Was it always to kill Gambit too? Kind of. I won't dare say what the alternatives would be because we changed our minds several times. Castorina also talked about the possibility of sacrificing some characters for the sake of the story. He said the following: "That is one of the things that genuinely intrigued me and made me embark on the project. I thought, oh, we'll have some twists and turns, but everything will be guided by the story, everything will be done to move the story forward, in a way that benefits it. We won't do anything just to shock, but to genuinely challenge the story and make it progress." Other animations. Gambit ended up appearing in other team animations. He was one of the villains in X-Men Evolution, where he was part of Magneto's acolytes, and also had a brief appearance in Wolverine and the X-Men, as a rental thief. Movies. While Gambit thrived in animations and games, the same cannot be said about Fox's films. To this day, the Cajun mutant has only appeared in one film, the controversial X-Men Origins, Wolverine, where he was played by Taylor Kitsch. In this version, Gambit is a mutant who was kidnapped by William Stryker and aids Wolverine in finding him. Despite this, several plans were made for the hero. He was supposed to be in a scene in X-Men 2, where he was played by James Bamford, but ended up being cut from the film. Later, there were plans to put him in X-Men, The Last Stand, and he was an important part of the script, having a flirtation with Rogue, but, as we know, that didn't happen. However, the most curious case concerns a standalone film for the character, which was in development at Fox for years before falling into creative limbo. The film would have starred Channing Tatum as the Cajun, and he would also have been one of the producers of the project, which went through several directors' hands before being cancelled. Now, we can only hope that Marvel Studios has better plans for the mutant. Now I want to know your opinion. Is Gambit one of your favorite X-Men? Would you like to see him come back to life in X-Men 97? Write in the comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Daily, we bring information, curiosities, and news about the superheroes we love so much. Thank you very much, and until the next video.